Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the video. Thank you very much for tuning in. And what you see here are two mostly identical quadcopters from Foxeer. You've seen the title of this video. These are both Foxeer Mega 4s. And they actually also sell a 3.5 inch version, I think, of these. But again, these are both 4-inch quadcopters. Why do I have two of these? Well, one of them is for a friend of mine, this one over here. And this is the analog version. And over here you see a digital version with the DJI O3 setup. So these quadcopters, you can get digital with the O3 setup, but also with the Vista setup. So basically the older DJI setup. And you can get them in analog version. These are both ELRS 2.4 GHz setups. You can get them with crossfire or ELRS 5.8 or without receiver. Yeah, those are the flavors, I think. Yeah, there's a link in the description to these quadcopters, and it's not an affiliate link, don't worry. Also, we bought these quadcopters with our own money, so the video isn't sponsored in any way. And in this video, I'm gonna show you what you get for your money. And I'm gonna show you the setup, the Betaflight setup. Do these quadcopters have a tune, for instance? And what do they fly like? Also, I forget to mention, these can be had in 6S and in 4S setup. And I'll probably do a separate video on whether to get the 6S or the 4S setup. But again, these are both 6S setups. Let's see what you get and how well they fly. Here we go.
You serious?
So guys, two Foxeer Mega 4 boxes here, and what you get for your money is the same for most versions. Again, you can get these quadcopters with or without a receiver. These are both with receiver. Other than the quad itself, you get the same care package, if you will. So let's pick one of these boxes. This one over here. Let's see what we got. Okay, we got dual prop, 4-inch propellers and 6 propellers from the looks of it. Is that true? Yeah. Okay, 2 spare propellers, which is always nice. Is it 6 or is it 8? No, it's actually 8. Huh. Oh, this is the first time I get a Foxeer quadcopter in with spare propellers. And then this is new to me. Previous Foxeer quadcopters never came stuck in the packaging, but these ones do, which is nice. Obviously, these kinds of quadcopters aren't fragile at all, but it's nice to have some extra protection either way. So let's cut it out of its packaging, and okay, is that it? Oh well, a big slab of foam might actually be useful for things, battery padding or... Okay, cool, and that's it. That's the entire content of our box. So that is also pretty typical for Foxeer. You never get all kinds of extra stuff with your quadcopter. Even the documentation you will have to get online, which is fine. Won't cost extra paper and trees and such, but for instance, diatones, for instance, come with all kinds of spare screws. And again, you never get that with Foxeer. And am I actually missing a battery strap? Yeah, okay, so I will actually ask Foxeer about it. Again, these quadcopters weren't sent for free. I ordered them as a regular customer. No battery strap. That's a bit unusual. So the keenly observant of you will also have noticed that there were no battery pads, anti-skid pads for these quadcopters in the packaging. And I've spoken to Foxeer about this, and they will be sending me 2 straps and 2 battery pads. Yeah, so first batch thing. Again, I did order these quadcopters with our own money. These are production quadcopters. but they are also from the first batch, and yeah, okay, it's a bit messy. It's a bit messy. Okay, let's have a look at these two quadcopters. In the description you'll find all the specs, by the way. So the motors, these are 2205.5 motors, which might not mean all that much to you. But for instance, the Diatone F4, which is a powerful quadcopter, has a motor with a lower stator volume. So these are bigger motors. These are also not really pancake style motors. Yeah, a bit conventional, a bit more conventional, I should say. Will be interesting to see what these quadcopters perform like. These are definitely not lightweight quadcopters, so these are not long range quads, but freestyle quadcopters, in my humble opinion. Also, the frame is not a one-piece frame. The arms are separate parts, which is probably nice. In a 4-inch quadcopter I can accept a one-piece frame, but this is probably better. Also, the arms are pretty skinny, however they are thick, 5 millimeters. That's pretty thick for a 4-inch quadcopter. In an all-in-one board, meaning that's a flight controller and the 4-in-1 ESC, 45 amp, which should be more than enough. So in the digital versions you've got the ERS receiver over here at the front. However, in the analog version there's obviously a lot more room at the rear. You've got the VTX, the Reaper VTX from Foxeer obviously, and the receiver at the rear. Yeah, one other thing I noticed is that neither quadcopter has a capacitor. That's interesting. So we'll definitely have to see whether the FPV feed in the analog quadcopter is clean. Yeah, and I must say the quadcopters do look nice with this teal TPU parts. Nice color combination, very much so. And also the analog quadcopter has a rather empty frame. Yeah, they definitely could have gone with a slammed setup for the analog version, and obviously not for the digital version. The quadcopters look well put together. You've got an action cam mount with a lightweight screw, an aluminium probably screw, or bolt I should say. So that's nice. You've got an aluminium camera housing at the front over here, and both of these are DC Deadcat configurations, frames, meaning that the propellers will not be in view. Now with the analog version that's not all that important probably, but with the digital versions I will probably not be using an action cam on these quadcopters, on this quadcopter I should say. So then with the propellers not being in view, that's very nice. The recording, the onboard recording with the O3 setup is pretty good. Yeah, you don't really need an action camera. You know what? It is probably time to have a look at the Betaflight configuration to see if there's an actual tune in these quadcopters, and if the receiver setup is nice and the VTX setup on the analog version is nice. Let's have a look at Betaflight. Here we go. One other thing I should mention is that the USB port on the flight controllers or the all-in-one boards are micro USB, which is basically not done. In 2023 that should have been a USB-C. Definitely, especially by the way on the digital version, right? You've got a micro USB port over here and then a USB-C port on the O3 unit. Yeah, that's a bit awkward. Yeah, okay, so let's plug in the USB to the flight controller and start up Betaflight. Hotchkiday, and connect. Now, this here, warning, the following problem, blah blah blah. Now, that's not really a problem, but the firmware Foxeer puts on these flight controllers is newer, is probably a release candidate. Yeah, 4.5. And I'm not sure why. Obviously they know their all-in-one boards better than anyone, and I guess there was an advantage to using this release candidate for this board, and eventually when this 4.5 is released you can relatively easily update your flight controller. But yeah, you get this warning, you can simply discard this. For as far as the quadcopter will actually fly, which we'll see in a couple of minutes. I do expect it to, to fly, but we'll see. Let's have a look at the rest of the configuration though. Ports, okay, that could be legitimate. Right, you've got the receiver port set up and a port set up for the O3 version. This is what you're looking at right now, is the O3 version, digital O3. And configuration, 8 kilohertz, and okay, no craft name entered yet, but okay, no biggie. Arming 180, okay, and a LED strip, okay, that can be disabled. Obviously, there's no LED strip, there is an OSD, so that looks okay, I guess. Power setup, I will actually be trying these quadcopters on lithium ion, so in that case I should change the minimum voltage obviously here, but this is fine as a base setup. Then pitch tuning, that should be interesting. Is there an actual, there looks to be a little bit of a tune. That's unexpected actually. Okay, let's look at all the slides. Yeah, there is a little bit of a tune. Huh, okay. So, yeah, I'll definitely be flying the quadcopter as is. Interesting. Okay, rates will probably be Betaflight stock. Yeah, that's okay. And the filtering is also, I suspect that this frame can handle more filtering. As per usual with the Foxeer frames. Pretty thick arms, right? But yeah, I'll be experimenting with that after the review. But I'll be flying in this review with the stock settings. Receiver, crossfire, yeah, that's correct for an ELRS receiver obviously. And telemetry is switched on, very nice. Modes, okay, only one mode, arming. Yeah, most people will probably be adding some modes, but this is all you really need. And motors. Okay, bidirectional D-shot is enabled, which it should. Oh, also, let's track back to the tuning and the filtering. Yeah, okay, gyro low pass 1 is enabled. I would definitely disable that. Again, I will be flying the quadcopter as is, but I will definitely be disabling that. Okay, video transmitter should be more or less nothing. Yeah, okay. The OSD, hello. Okay, so there is some OSD setup, and yeah, okay, interesting. You've got the cell voltage over here and the pack voltage, or Lipo voltage, and you've got the warning over here, flight time and link quality. Fine, nothing out of the ordinary. Fine, I'll be using a different OSD, but this is fine. Nothing out of the ordinary. And that's it, basically. So let's also have a look at the analog setup. Alright, here we go. Analog hooked up, connect. Yeah. Okay, same warning. So, well, that's good to see. That's at least the same for both quadcopters. Ports should be a little bit different. Yeah, only a receiver and a link to the VTX IRC tramp. So that looks a good configuration. Should be the same. Yeah, again, LED strip. You should definitely disable that. Okay, pitch tuning. The same? Yeah. What? No. Hey, that is actually interesting. So this looks to be Betaflight stock, more or less. Now, does that make sense? The digital version, the digital quadcopter is a little bit heavier. So maybe that does make sense. Interesting. Different tune. Huh. Okay. And rates stock. And this is also stock. Okay, then the motors. Bidirectional D-shot enabled. Yeah. Okay. Huh. Okay, and receiver, that looks good. Modes, only one mode I suspect. Yeah, okay, OSD, probably the same OSD. No, hey, a little bit different. Not a whole lot different, but... Okay, so, that actually speaks for Foxeer, that they use a different setup for the analog and the digital setups. Digital quadcopters. That does make sense, right? I'm a little bit hesitant to say that the difference in tune makes sense. But again, the digital versions are a little bit heavier. So yeah, we will be flying both of these quadcopters stock as you see them here. Huh. Yeah, okay. Oh, and a video transmitter. Yeah, okay. The VTX tables are loaded and that looks, yeah, that looks fine. And yeah, the VTX power outputs are also set up over here. So that looks great. Nothing is really missing here, which I like to see. Okay, again, we'll be flying the quadcopters as is. So let's head out to the field and see what these quadcopters are like. Here we go. And that, my friends, is regrettably kind of where the shit hits the fan. What you are looking at right now is one of my latest flights, and from looking at you might think, oh, well, flies pretty nicely, and it actually does. By now it does fly almost perfectly. Great, but however it took me more than a week of tuning to get to this point. And when I say tuning, it's more like detuning because, well, I got that O3 quadcopter with the tune you just saw, and I thought, well, I guess that's the tune it's supposed to have. Let's fly it, and I got me a lot of low frequency wobbles with the quad, with the base setup. And why? How? Maybe the quad was tuned to have a GoPro on it, or maybe a heavier Lipo. I don't think so. I'm flying it on an 850 mAh 6S, and Foxeer told me, well, 850 mAh 6S is optimal for this quadcopter. If you get the 6S version, that is, of course. But it flew horribly, yeah, horribly. And the analog version also flew horribly. It actually had flyaways. So that's, that can have you searching in all kinds of directions, right? If you get a quadcopter that's supposed to have a good tune, what are you doing wrong? Well, guess what? I'm now flying it on bone stock Betaflight PRD tune. So the sliders are all at 0 or 1. Well, base stock Betaflight setup. However, the filtering is different. Here is the filtering on both of the quadcopters. So yeah, basically that means that maybe the frames need a little bit more tuning, filtering, sorry, maybe. Or, that's what Foxeer tells me, the MPU 6000 are more, don't really like the O3 units. They don't like the electrical interference of the O3. I'm not sure if that's true, but long story short, with this setup, so bone stock Betaflight PRD setup and a little bit more tuning, my quadcopter now flies as you see it here. Is it 100% perfect? Well, if I really try, I can get to prop wash oscillations, but only if you fly like a moron, so to speak. Right? Let it drop into its own prop wash and then not use. Maybe you saw it a second ago. A little bit of prop wash, but essentially this is great. Yeah, very nice flying quadcopter. And well, okay, with that said, what is the quadcopter like? Well, maybe you remember the Diatone Roma F4 or F40, I'm not completely sure. That was a beast, a very powerful 4-inch quadcopter. This Foxeer has actually bigger motors still. Yeah, so this is yeah, it's you often hear that in reviews, it flies like a 5-inch quadcopter. Well, yeah, power to weight, it actually flies, it actually has a higher power to weight than most 5-inch quadcopters. It doesn't have the weight, however, to carry you through maneuvers. Compared to a 5-inch quadcopter, this simply doesn't have the weight to carry you through maneuvers, right? Like a split S, if you're inverted at 0 throttle. So that's a difference, obviously, from a 5-inch. However, the power to weight is excellent with this quadcopter. It is really a sporty, powerful quadcopter. Having said that, I flew this quadcopter on this 850 mAh 6S from CNHL, which worked out well, even though I might have liked a little higher C rating. It worked out reasonably well. I got to flights of 5 minutes approximately. So not huge. It depends a little bit on how you fly the quadcopter, obviously. But if you were to add a GoPro to the quadcopter, you might want to look at a slightly bigger Lipo. And again, that might explain the tune the quadcopter had stock from the factory. Right, if you add a GoPro and a bigger Lipo, then you might have to alter this tune, obviously. Also, however, I flew the quad on this. Also a CNHL by chance. I'm not sponsored by CNHL, in case you're wondering. I simply had this lithium ion pack, and it's a 3200 mAh 4S. I think these packs are actually intended for cars, RC cars. Not sure, but it got warm, but not blisteringly hot, and I got 2 flight times of 13 minutes with this setup, which is respectable, right? That's more than respectable. Very, very nice, without a GoPro, so without an action camera. But well, in my case, I actually already have an action camera with that 03 unit, right? So that works out well. You don't have a freestyle quadcopter anymore with this setup. You've got a cruiser, which is fine if you're going for long range or endurance. But that's an option with this quadcopter. However, I'd say it's meant to be flown like a freestyle quadcopter with a Lipo like this. And yeah, so the analog version, I don't have the analog version here, it's a friend of mine's. It also needed a little bit more filtering, and stock Betaflight worked out well on that one as well. Yeah, what more can I tell you? Yeah, by now I do have the battery pads that I was missing, and the straps as well, even though I still have this strap on it. But I do have, Foxeer did send us the battery pads and the straps, so that was great. I must say, maybe that's because I'm a YouTuber, I simply don't know, but it got here in a week. So, a very nice quadcopter. No props in view, powerful setup, a nice frame, Foxeer components. Oh yeah, so this is their newest all-in-one board in this quadcopter, and it has an MPU 6000 gyro or motion sensor, in case you don't know. And yeah, Foxeer again told me that the MPU 6000 gyros don't like the 03 unit. I don't know in what way. And again, by now the quadcopter flies fine. But yeah, Foxeer again tells me that that's the reason why the quad needs more filtering. I'm not completely convinced. Yeah, doesn't really matter, the quad flies great as is. Oh, also, on the product page photos, go have a look. There's a link to these quadcopters in the description. Not an affiliate link, but on the product photos you'll see a capacitor over here. Have a look. And the production versions don't have a capacitor. Also on the product page you'll have this power lead come out over here, and on the production versions it's not. I'm not sure why, but doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, no capacitor, and from the looks of it, it doesn't need one. But in case you're wondering, having looked at the photos and now see my quadcopter, where is the capacitor? Yeah, it's not installed, and if I were to build this quadcopter myself, I would probably install a capacitor, but from the looks of it, doesn't need one. Yeah, so that's it. That's my review of these Foxeer Mega Deadcat 4-inch quadcopters. Very, very nice. Very powerful setup. Yeah, I like them. So maybe you are looking for a slightly smaller quadcopter to take with you on holiday or anything. These are definitely nice quadcopters. So if you are left with questions, hit me up a comment down below. Thank you very much for watching. Catch you on the next video. Bye bye.